that only like 5 people were here.
Because I get so far away from the con.
Yeah, so we're grateful. Thank you so much.
The con is empty right now. We took everybody. Hey, before we start, do you mind, can I ask a favor of the audience? Sure. Cool. So, I'd like to take a video of anyone that's cosplaying as any, like, from Buffy or Smallville or whatever I'm doing. And then I string those together and put it on my social media. But I'd like to give them a big round of applause at the end of the video. So, if you guys don't mind, if I could film you, and when I say action, just raise your arms and scream like your team won the binky, or whatever. Is that cool? Okay, cool. Is that all right? Okay, cool. It's going to take a while because it's live.
We only have 40 minutes.
Great. Yeah, so Christopher did makeup effects for both Buffy and Angel.
Hey.
You want to see something?
Yeah.
This, I designed and painted this, and this attacked Anya and Spike in an alley in season 7.
Who won the fight?
Well, of course, the heroes.
Dang. Yeah, so this will show you the people who wore these, they paid for it because you get so hot in these. I wore this kind of thing for a horrible movie called Dragon Ball Evolution. But it was basically the whole thing. Your whole scalp was covered. You know, so what they do is they put the scalp thing in, and then they glue the mask on. And that's how they put it on. But you're encased in foam, and then they have you fight, and you start sweating, and it gets bad.
It's awesome.
And smelly.
Oh yeah.
Interesting thing you said. Not being comfortable. Like what they're gonna ask me to do is I'm afraid I'm gonna have to do something I'm not comfortable doing, and I feel like every day was a day like that for me. I feel like part of the beauty and the beast of being an actor is actually having to confront what makes you uncomfortable and having to do and perform things that you as a person are afraid to do, but through your character are able to overcome. And I think that act of doing made me who I am today as a person.
Yeah, like I don't learn anything when I'm comfortable.
Nobody does.
You know, exactly. It's when I'm uncomfortable, when I'm out of my comfort zone that growth happens. And yeah.
As the human nature is to protect, our nature is to stay the same. It's safe, it's comfortable, and to not stretch. And that's why being an actor is, in a way, so courageous. I mean, I don't mean to like self-congratulate, or that's not what I mean. But what I mean is, you have to really be authentic and know yourself really well and know what you are comfortable with and not comfortable with, and still be brave enough to bear that. And that's, I think, even just the auditioning process is so out of my comfort zone. I loathe auditioning, and it's just so artificial in every aspect. It's just, there's got to be a better way to get a solution to their casting problem, you know? But whatever it is, you know, it's such an act of bravery to do that for me personally, that I think that same approach towards anything that I face in life is just doing it, the act of doing it.
You know, the weirdest audition I was ever in was also the best. It was for Ridley Scott. So I was so excited. I'm going to meet Ridley Scott. Oh my God, it's great. And I walk in.
You weren't horrified or scared? You were excited.
Oh yeah, he's my hero. Oh my God,
Right,
Alien.
but are you afraid to meet heroes like that? Like on that level?
I just want to meet him, yeah. And so, because I wasn't going to get the role, and you never get the role, and like every
But I would have
35th
because you have so much admiration for this person. You're like, oh my God, if I'm not great.
Yeah, but I'm really confident. If he doesn't cast me, it's bad on him, man. Yeah.
Really?
But the thing is like, I agree with you, like, the audition process is horrifying because it's so different than filming.
Yeah.
And you're just in there, you're just in some kind of conference room with a bunch of people, and there's nothing like filming. So there are actors who are really good on film, and they're horrible auditioning. Kathy Bates was telling me that she auditions terribly, but she's one of the best actors in the world, you know, right? And so I walk in for Ridley, and Ridley ain't in the room. He has figured out this problem with audition. So I walk into the room, and it's a set, and he's got a good lighting setup, and he's got a camera, and I've got a mark on the ground, and I hear action, and that's Ridley, action, you know, and I go cut. And that's it. And I leave. Ridley's in the other room watching a monitor like a director in a film. And I left.
Why don't they all do that?
So weird, right?
And do you have to read with somebody, a casting director, reading off the page, or do they bring in another actor?
I think it was just a monologue. Oh. So he just like he figured out how to just do away with that artifice.
Okay.
And just have a monologue. And
are you off page for auditions?
Yeah.
All auditions?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
My question for you guys is, how was it working together again for the audiobook you guys released the end of last year?
We loved it.
Oh my God,
loved it. I loved it.
It was really awesome to get that Buffy alternate verse. And James, I love you as Dresden. Oh, awesome. Charisma, was your first time doing an audiobook? I don't know if I referred to on any other audiobooks, Charisma. Chris.
Oh, me? Yeah. Oh, apologies. I thought you were still talking to him.
No.
I think I did an audiobook very badly early on in my career. I was very unclear what I was signing on to. I didn't realize that it was a performance, that you had to do all the different voices. I thought I'm like, you're paying me just to go in and like read? Okay. And then when I got there, they were like, no, we want you to do the voices. And I'm like, oh, okay, well that's a problem, because I would have done a shit ton of homework on this and gotten with the dialect coach to do Anthony Stewart Head's accent and Spike or whatever. I don't even know.
It's so refreshing when they actually tell you what they want you to do. It's rare. Usually they're like, oh, by the way, you got to dance on your head. Okay.
Well, yeah. Thank you. It would have been great. So I did do a audio book, not for Audible. I don't know where it is in the world. Don't bother finding it. It won no awards.
Well, if anyone hasn't heard this latest audiobook, Buffy, definitely. Sorry?
Yeah.
I was just recommending checking out Buffy.
Yeah, Audible.
Slayers.
Yeah. I was amazed watching Charisma, because it's so true.
You
like,
say this about, now if this is Juliet or Emma, or you
they were good too.
All of us were great. We're great in our roles.
But because Juliet was taking Drew and like pumping up the power so that she could be the main villain for the piece. But she was still kind of in that vein. And Emma was just Emma, which is always a genius. But you're a slayer now.
Yeah.
And taking the character of Cordelia and moving her into that piece, in my head at least, was a big difference. I'm sure because you've had your whole journey, which I didn't see all of that, so I was just like, basically I was thinking of you as Cordelia back on Buffy, and I'm like, how is that going to work? And then I'm just like watching you work, and I'm like, oh my God, of course. Cordelia takes no shit. She could be the perfect slayer, of course, you know, and it was just amazing. Yeah.
It was a great experience. You're so good. You really are. I mean, I have tremendous, and I'm not saying that because he's sitting here. I would say it regardless. I mean, we have talented people that were hired to do what we do, you know?
Everyone heard that, right? Everyone heard that?
I mean, look at this. It's such a gift. And you are, you know, for me, I feel like, you know, one of the best. And I get to work with you. And you are, for me, the most watchable character that I've ever seen on the show.
Hey, stop, I'm gonna
No, seriously. The Care Bear, the alley fight where you call Angel and you do this whole reenactment with this woman that's about to get eaten. And it just literally, I was like, I think you're my favorite character on the show besides me. And in a way, I think it's kind of a narcissist thing to say because I feel like you are me but blonde and a guy. I feel like Spike and Cordy are maybe born of the same ilk.
There's going to be some fan fiction coming.
Publicly, Tony was doing albums, he'd done musicals on stage, I was in a rock band, we didn't have a problem singing. The rest of the cast had a really good point, saying, you hired me to be a one-camera comedic / dramatic actor. One camera is, like sitcoms are like 5 cameras, and it's slightly different technically to know how to do that. We were one camera. That's their wheelhouse. And they were saying, now you want me to sing and dance? You're going to put me out in front of millions of people doing something that I'm not, that's not my wheelhouse, so you're going to ruin my career. Like Sarah.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah. Sarah asked if she could juggle live chainsaws. And she was serious. She was like, that would be safer for my career. And so there was a lot of gnashing of teeth and a lot of whining. Like, I was comfortable singing, I just thought the song sucked. I did. I was wrong. I was wrong. But the thing is like, Joss gave us a cassette tape of him singing the song. And he's a god-awful singer. And it was him playing piano. And he no. And so it sounded cheesy. It just did. And I was just like, he's gone crazy. It's all over. And so we complained. We tried to get out of it, talk him into not doing it, and it was crazy for a little while. And then when we figured out that we weren't going to get out of it, we decided to get down to work. And the thing is, I think that the theme of Buffy is don't give up. Even though life hurts, even though it's a challenge, it's worth it, and keep fighting. And as a group, we decided, even though we were going down in flames, even though our careers were all over, and this show was going down the tubes, we were going to go down swinging, and we were going to try our best anyway. And so I think, yeah. So ultimately, it was a really good experience, and I was just so proud that we lived up to the theme, if only for that one episode. And then by the end of it, we were all like, oh my God, we rock! It was like we were starting to see some of the dailies coming back, and it was really good. And we were just thought, you know, by the end of it, we thought we were like musical actor gods. And then Hilton Battle came to town. And he is a multiple Tony Award-winning Broadway musical actor. He played Sweet. And I just remember, we're like staring up at Hilton on stage, and he's doing his thing, bam, smack, whack, boom, boom, in 2 takes. And we're just like, oh, are we supposed to do it like that? Oh my God, like we're not, oh my God. We got humbled at the end, which was probably a good thing.
And that episode is actually really important for us because we had been doing Angel. We had Angel, and another shop had Buffy, Optic Nerve, and they were working on that episode, and they just couldn't nail Sweet. They just couldn't get the design down, and they finally, in frustration, called us, and the art director said, watch out, and did the design, and that was the last episode that Optic Nerve worked on. That's how we got the show, is that design, and it was, I think it's still one of the best designs that the shop did, because it's very subtle, it's very different, and it's very unique, and so that is a very important episode for me.
I'm not a guy, and I didn't have the same rapport, I think, that he had with the boys, with the pranking and stuff. Jared was just very sweet, kind, and took a Polaroid with me once. But I felt, so Spike and Cordelia didn't work together a lot. We did in the 100th episode on season 5, I think we actually had, I think we did maybe some group. At some point there was us, but we really didn't work together. So when we did Supernatural together, there was a lot of downtime, and we were both freaking out that we had to speak Romanian. And we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And, you know, there's a lot of terror going on again. Like, we're tortured. Actors are just scared all the time.
They didn't give us the Romanian until the day that we're filming.
And then they brought in a coach to try to help us with pronunciation.
And I was like, okay guys, we're now in soap opera land. You're giving us the script an hour before we film. Now, let's do it like a soap opera, and let's get cue cards. So they ran
We had cue cards.
Yeah. We would never have gotten to see without.
But we didn't need cue cards for our bickering and our fighting, and that was, you know, just so joyful. We should have a spin-off. Honestly, we should call it The Starks.
Like, okay, like, seriously, like, I remember thinking of our first time we had the first dialogue together, because the thing is, like, there are actors who pretty much give the same performance take to take. They're nailed in, and it doesn't really matter what I do, they give back the same thing. It's like acting to like a semi-interesting wall. Whatever. And then there are the good actors who are like present, and you don't know what they're going to do at any moment, and it's a very subtle difference in the eyes. It's not like they're about to like leap around the set or whatever. It's just in those little subtleties between human beings, you're not really sure what's about to happen, and then it gets dangerous, and then it gets interesting. And I remember thinking, oh my God, you're one of the good ones. You're like, yeah.
I always thought you were good.
Like, there's no way to tell what's about to happen at any given moment. Like, but subtle.
What is your background in acting? Do you sing? Do you have a method? Are you method or
no, man? I can't.
Meisner or what do you?
No,
what is the approach? Nothing. I come from Meisner, which is you listen.
Yeah. That's the thing. I came from theater where you plan everything out to the detail, and it's you're trying to give the illusion of this happening for the first time. But the truth is we do this every night, so it's not the first time, but we're fooling you. And film is actually trying to make it for the first time by listening, and every take is the first time, and you're doing something real, and it's an entirely different thing from the stage. So my whole journey was relearning acting. Just like dumping everything.
TV and theater are very different.
Yeah, just dumping.
Did we answer your question?
My quick question was, did you two ever take a moment on Supernatural and look at each other and say Buffy fans are going to lose it when they watch this episode?
I didn't think about that. I don't think that. I think when I thought that for the first time, that consciousness came later. And I think for Slayers, I was so frickin' excited for you guys because it's been so long. And I've been on social media. I'm very active on my social media. I love engaging with you guys. I created a company to try to be with my fans more and direct. And that whole thought process was like, this will satiate that need, you know, I hoped. And you guys came out in droves. You supported us. Audible did an amazing job supporting us and marketing us, listening to us, and you know, really embracing that project the way a project should be embraced. And then they just told us they were axing it. And you know, I'm devastated for the fans. So I think when it came to Supernatural, it didn't cross my mind, but I also was much younger, and not enough time had passed, and just to walk into Cordelia's boots again felt so natural and so good, but then also scary because she's got the Slayer.
Yeah, it's kind of, it takes a while, for me anyway, to wrap my mind around how many people are going to be watching this thing. You can just like freak out, you know. And it's probably taken years of coming out to conventions to really get a sense of that.
How much it means. All these years later.
It's really amazing because I have a whole nother career. I'm in gaming, and I'm a writer, and I do my own books. And so there's people that know me that are, and I'm like, oh yeah, when I worked on Firefly. And they're like, what? I'm like, oh yeah. The Janestown statue of Jane's, I oversaw that, and the hands on the statue were my hands.
All right, we have time.